Hello and welcome everyone. This practice is going to be about the feeling of flight. So when we think of flying, we think of smooth, gliding, light effort, just stretching out, expanding. And we can bring that feeling into any pose. And there's certain poses that have more of that feeling, like just in the shape of the pose and the movement in the pose. So let's start by closing our eyes. And imagine that you're flying with your breath. So every inhale, it's like a little surge of air lifting you up. And every exhale, you're just kind of gliding and floating, looking down at the earth. Just be present with your breath and with this idea of flight and lightness, soaring, gliding. And feel your breath moving like the wind throughout your body, like a gentle wind. So there's a lot of energy with it. It moves places in your body, so it expands the lungs, expands the rib cage, lifts up through from your pelvic floor, and then there's this a little bit of descent and just kind of slowly gliding downward. Defying the feeling of being heavy and grounded, but being light and uplifted. And just about anything that flies eventually lands on the ground, but they're not like stuck there. And gravity isn't like taking over everything, isn't taking over their lives. It's just like helping them to ground, helping you to ground, and helping you to come back to that feeling of flight and lightheartedness. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up and interlace your fingers, reach up toward the sky, pulling your lower ribs in. Just think of height from your sit bones all the way up through the palm of your hands, and then release your hands with your wrists flexed, open them out to the side. Bring your hands together, interlacing your fingers, and then lift the right wrist up so that your hands are at a 90 degree angle, and then pull your right heel of your hand down and lift the left heel up. And just lower down, so lifting one elbow, one wrist at a time, but focusing more on the wrist and stretching out the fingers. Leading from the wrist. And coming down together, and then stretching apart. So you really get the feeling of the movement of the wrists, the pressure of the fingers into each other. And now we'll start with a wave. So lifting up from the right elbow, roll across. And just keep this movement going. Like a nice feeling of mobility, movement, flow. Now let's start from the left side, rippling across. I think the key is to really lifting the wrist up and then bringing the wrist together. So there's a change of movement. When you really get the hang of it, it's just a really nice, fun, fluid flow. And then reach your arms up again. And lower your right hand down, stretch your left leg out, sweep your left arm forward, up, and shift your hips forward, feeling a feeling of lightness, of lifting. And slowly lower down, touching lightly, flip your legs, sweep your right arm up and over, lifting your hips, and floating back down. Come onto your hands and knees in tabletop. And begin to ripple through your spine. Well, I can't resist waving my hips around first. But starting from the tailbone, curl upward, lifting up, and then tucking the tailbone around. And like you're floating your back up. And then Roll forward, lifting your chest up. And tuck under, lifting your back up. We'll do it a little bit differently this time. So lift your tailbone up, reach your heart forward, and then tuck your chin, puff up into cat. And just go back and forth. So instead of leading with the tailbone, we start with the tailbone and then lead with the head, neck, shoulders. And then round up into cow from the pelvis and puff up into cat from the upper back, tucking the tailbone under last. One more time. Trying to keep a feeling of lightness and floating and gliding. Good. Now stretch your left leg back and float it up. Keep the belly lifted. So everything is lifting and reaching and extending. Circle your wrist and your ankle. Lower down. Stretch the right leg back. Float it up. Float the left arm forward. And again, circle. Try and keep that inner lift. Good. Lower your hand down. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And first just do maybe little half waves. Not coming all the way forward to plank, but just little waves. Again, almost like you're flying. Then come all the way forward to plank. And back to down dog. Bending your knees, lift up and roll forward. And bend your knees, slide back. Again, inhale, lift forward. Exhale, flow back. Lower your knees. Lower your forearms down. Stretch your legs back into form plank and press into the ground to get a little lift. Tuck the tailbone, keep the shoulders buoyant. Press into the earth and hug inward as you stretch from your heels all the way up to the crown of your head. And from the crown of your head all the way back through your heels. So we have to be strong to be light. And we hug in so that we can expand. Nice, lower your hips down. Point your toes. Reach your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers. Roll the shoulders open and float your arms and legs up. Locust pose, Shalabhasana. And then release your arms, open your arms out to the side and float your arms up and down. A little bit of lift and lowering of your chest. And bring your hands in again. Rise up into your cobra. Open up slowly. Find that feeling of lift and expansion. And then stretch your heart forward to lower down. And puff up into your back as you curl up and open. Again, reach forward. And puff up to open. Reach forward again. This time bring your hands behind your back again. Interlace your finger with the odd pinky out and then reach back and lift up. Feel those glutes working to help you to fly. Open your arms out to the side again. And lift and lower. Keeping the wrists nice and soft. Bring the hands in and first find a little hover. And then press down to rise up. Shift your hips back and up. Downward facing dog. And just gently move around here. Now shift your weight into your right hand. Bend your knees. Pivot your knees to the left. Coming into side plank. Reach your arm up. So see if you can hug in enough to find an inner flight. And then you can lift your left leg up, step it behind you, open up into your wild thing. And come back into your downward facing dog. So we're moving slowly here so we can create a feeling of lightness. Bend your knees, pivot your knees to the right. Bring your left hand in a little bit. Lift your hips up, reach your arm up. Then maybe lift your right leg up. Step it slowly behind you. Open up, wild thing. And come back into your downward facing dog. Step or hop forward to your hands. And slowly roll your way all the way up. Open up through the shoulders, roll the shoulders. On your next inhale, sweep your left knee up as you reach your arms up. And then extend your arms back, your leg back, coming into warrior three. Lift up through the belly, reach your arms out to the side. Wiggle your fingers a little bit. And bend your knee, pull your knee back up. Straighten your leg forward. And reach back into warrior three. This time bend your knee and just float your arms and your back leg. Try and keep the back leg nice and lifted as much as you can. And pull your back knee up again. Reach up. Open up, tree pose. And slowly lower down and release. Roll out the shoulders. On your next inhale, sweep the right knee up. And reach your arms back, reach your leg back, coming into a warrior three. And then open your arms out to the side. Wiggle out through your fingertips, lift up through the belly, through the back leg, and bend your knee and just a little bit of floating up and down. So the right leg is going to want to drop. So see if you can keep it lifted. And then pull your knee back up again. And reach it back. Warrior three. Floating and flying. And pull your knee forward again. Straighten your leg if you can. And float your leg down, float your arms down. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up, lift your heels up, reach up toward the sky. And exhale, lower down, coming into your forward fold. Step back into plank. Slowly lower down. Rise up into your cobra. Open up, press down through your feet, lift forward through your heart, and stretch back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, sweep your right leg up to the sky, and then push into your hands, reach your toes up a little bit higher, and squeeze your knee into your chest. Lightly step your foot forward without a sound. Rotate the back heel down and in for warrior one, rise up. Open up, cactus your arms, send your heart forward. Relax your shoulders. And sweep your arms back, tilt your body forward, float your back leg up. Coming back into a warrior three, and then maybe reach your arms forward and back and forward and back. Once again, forward and back, and step back into warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Come back into warrior two. And then as you swing the back arm forward, twist your back heel up, pull your knee up, finding your tree pose. And one more warrior three. Lower your hands down, step your left leg back and float your right leg back up to the sky. And lower back down. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Reach to the sky with your toes, and then pull your knee up into your chest, still reaching your knee up, step forward lightly. Warrior one, rise up. Puff up through your heart. You could cactus your elbows and press your elbows forward to help you, and push down into the back heel. And start to reach your arms forward, floating your back leg up, coming back up into warrior three. Open your arms out to the side and do that little flowing motion. So the back leg has to stay strong and lifted. And open up warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. Come back through warrior two. Swing the back arm forward, pivoting the back foot up. Step forward into warrior three again. Reach your arms out to the side. Find that inner lift. And lower your hands down. Step back. Float your left leg back up. And lower your leg down. Bend through your knees and just like move around here. And then hop or step forward to your hands. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. And notice if you have this sensation of lightness of being, a little bit of floating, a little bit of like gliding around, feeling a sense of deep freedom inside and out. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. And just pause here for a moment. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, forward fold. Lightly step back into plank, keeping that inner lift. And slowly lower down. Keeping the shoulders lifted as long as you can. Point your toes, curl up into your cobra. And stretch back, downward facing dog. So we're going to step into half moon. So inhale, float your right leg up, reach toward the sky, pull your knee into your chest, and step your foot forward, step your hand forward, stack the hips, open up. And see if you can feel the brightness of the moon inside of you, and how the moon floats up in the sky. See if you can have this feeling of floating up. And look down, bend your front knee, reach back through your toes, find your warrior two, rise up. Reach back with your left hand behind your back, push forward through your front knee, then straighten your front leg and reach forward, finding your triangle, open up. Maybe circle your wrist. And we'll look down again and float forward into half moon. Rise up. And see if you can find a lightness here. Maybe so light that you could pull your bottom fingers off the floor. Good, lower back down again. And step back. Down dog splits. And downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, squeeze your knee in, step forward nice and lightly. Rise up, half moon, open up. Again, think of rising up into the sky. Finding your way into the stars. And then look down, bend your knee, and as lightly as you can, step back. Float up into warrior two. Reach back, reach your right hand behind your back as you stretch your arm forward. And straighten the front leg, reach forward, find your triangle. Bring your hand down. Stretch back, down dog splits. And step your leg forward again, coming back into half moon, float up. Maybe hover the bottom hand off the floor. Good, lower back down and float your left leg back into down dog splits. And back to downward facing dog. Again, inhale, ripple forward to plank, and exhale, float back to down dog. Just continue that motion with a feeling of flight, feeling of lightness, feeling of freedom. And walk your feet forward. Come on into a squat. Lower your hips down, float your legs up. And then reach your legs forward as you lower your back down. And see if you can pull up and lift up. And slowly lower down, reaching down. And come in and pull up again. Bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Keeping your feet hovering above the floor. Then lower your feet down. Make your way onto your backs. Hug your knees into your chest and then circle your knees out to the side. So they go apart from each other and then come in. And just keep this movement going. Reverse the direction of your circles. And then with the knees together, circle the knees together. First, I'm going in a counterclockwise direction. And then we'll switch it to a clockwise direction. And now float your arms and legs up in dead bug pose. Just let everything relax. So your shoulders are grounded, your shoulder blades are grounded on the floor. Your hips are grounded, the low back is grounded, but your feet and your hands are floating. So you can see if you can find that balance point where it's no effort to float your arms and legs up. And if your hamstrings are tight, you might need to bend your knees a little bit. Find that balance point. You might be able to do this with your legs straight. Let your wrists relax, your ankles relax. And we'll stay here just a little bit longer, feeling your hands and your feet floating up in the sky. Oh, I feel like I could stay here forever, just so relaxed. And then bend your knees and just gently rock up to a comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. I hope that you feel light as if you could fly. So you can fly in your imagination. You can fly your arms and legs up in space. And that builds a feeling of like confidence and strength and stability and mobility. So please let me know how you feel in the comments below. Share this with a friend and hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.